you're not guarding your eyes, then you have no guard for this castle, which is your heart. And we already said that the heart is the only thing that's going to matter when you return to Allah. So what you look at all day has to be guarded. You have to be so careful of what you allow into your eyes. And that has become, like I said, a lost command of Allah subhanahu. Nobody even thinks about it anymore. Why? Because we have screens. We see things on screens that we would maybe never imagine looking at. And we've become desensitized. We have become desensitized. I'm going to just point out one thing. It has come to my attention that social media targets especially young men. Okay? So what I mean by that is, if you have a 20-year-old female signing up for Instagram and a 20-year-old boy, man, signing up for Instagram, the content that is going to come on each of their feed is very different. And this is something we have to realize. This is a targeted attack, and we have to be conscious of that. A female, 20-year-old female, if she's not curated her algorithm, will probably get stuff about maybe fashion or cooking or recipes or psychology advice. Men, on the other hand, will basically get soft porn. Just, that's going to be just put on there without them having, it's like without their, it's not like they're signing up for it. It's just, that's what's on their feed. That's what suggests to them. Soft porn and red pill, apparently. Red pill. Garbage. Right? You don't know what I'm talking about? Do you know what red pill garbage is? Andrew Tate stuff. Am I lying? So it's like the soft porn and Andrew Tate content. This is a targeted attack. All right? And we have to be conscious of that. So, first of all, my advice, when you sign up as men, don't say you're 20 years old. Literally just say you're like 55. I'm not joking. See what happens. It's a little different. It's different. They are targeting young boys. We have to guard our eyes. That is literally the opening to the heart. All right? And I'm just talking soft porn here. We're not even talking about anything more. This is not with anyone even trying to see this stuff. It is attacking them. And we have to be conscious of that. What you listen to, the ears, also an opening to the heart. What you speak, an opening to the heart. Your company, your friends, your environment. This is all affecting the heart. Your environment can either be poison for your heart or it can be medicine for your heart. And you choose that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Qur'an that on the day of judgment, the people who are being punished, who have failed the test, are going to say, I wish I had not taken so-and-so as a friend. This is going to be one of the big regrets that is quoted in the Qur'an. Allah shows us the future in the Qur'an. And one of the quotes, one of the biggest regrets is, I wish I had not taken so-and-so as a friend. Be very careful who you take as a friend. The Prophet ﷺ said, Al-mar'u ala dini khalileh, which means that a person is on the way of life of their closest friend or companion. I want you to just reflect on that for a second. What does that mean? It means your BFF is very important. Who is your closest friend? It means who you marry is very important. You literally become on the way. Deen doesn't just mean religion. Deen is a way of living. You become the same way of living as your closest companion. So who is that person? Make sure it's someone you want to become like, because that's what happens. Understood? Who you marry, who you take as your close companion, who's in your inner circle. That's actually who you become. You want to know someone, just look at their best friends. And this is actually good premarital advice. Premarital advice. You want to know someone, go online and see who's their closest friends. because a person will be on the way of their closest friends. If you see somebody online and all their closest friends are non-Muslim, they drink, that's a red flag. Simple as that. What are some of the other poisons of the heart? Something, and I'll just wrap up with this. We live in a world right now where we are exposed to a lot of media all the time. It's in our pockets. It's everywhere we look. Media. One of the most dangerous things that you could do is to not be careful about your social media or your media in general, especially the thing that you're looking at every day. See that motion that we do? See that swipe motion? The thing that's on that feed, I want you to think about that like the food in your refrigerator. That's what you're going to eat that day. So I want you to start to think about your social media/media feed, like your feed, as your refrigerator. Ask yourself, I want you to imagine you're opening up the fridge and you're like, what do I have in my fridge? And imagine you look in the fridge and you see a couple bottles of poison, some rotten food, some food that has mold on it. What's going to happen to your health? That's what you're eating. That's what you're drinking every day. What's going to happen to your physical health? Right? It's not rocket science, guys. You're going to poison yourself. You're not going to be healthy. You're going to actually kill yourself. Yeah? Okay. If your social media feed, if what you're eating every day through your eyes and through your ears, what you're talking about is a couple bottles of poison and some rotten bread every day, it is not a surprise that internally you're going to be sick. It's really not it's not a complicated formula. What you're looking at every day is going to determine the health or lack thereof in terms of your spiritual and emotional and psychological health. Please guard what you're watching. Guard what you're looking at. Guard what you're following. Please go and curate what you're following so strictly as you would curate your fridge. Because you wouldn't drink poison. You wouldn't eat rotten bread. Why do you, the more important than your physical body, and I'm not saying your physical body is unimportant, but your physical body is temporary, isn't it? One could make the argument that your physical body isn't as important as your soul, although it's important. Because your physical body is temporary and your soul is not temporary. But Yasmin, we died. But our soul continues to the barzakh, right? To the grave. And then our soul continues to the day of judgment. And then our soul continues to the hereafter. So your soul is not temporary. Don't we have to be careful what we're feeding our soul? Think about it. Why are we so careless with what we're feeding that which does not die? You're stuck with it. I mean, I want you to think about how scary that is. However we take care of our soul, we are stuck with it for eternity. So if we starved it, if we poisoned it, that's what we're stuck with. Like, we can't go buy a new soul later on. In the grave, you can't go and trade up with another. I want to trade in my soul, get a better one. You can't do that. You're stuck with it forever. So this is the time when we have to start taking care of our soul. And I'm telling you, practically, if you're not very careful about your media, then you are literally eating, drinking anything. And you wouldn't do that with your body. You wouldn't take in rotten food in your body. You wouldn't drink poison in your body. So be just as careful with what you're watching, reading, and listening to. Does that make sense? I'm telling you the truth. And one last thing I want to say is, when it comes to emotional, psychological, spiritual food, there's a spectrum. Just like with food that we eat for our bodies, there's a spectrum of food, right? You can have like really healthy food, like organic, really clean, you know what I'm saying? You have to pay 10 times the price type thing, right? And then you can have like, okay, you're eating an apple, but it's not organic, or you know what I'm saying? It's like here. And then you have like junk food. It's not going to kill you the first time you eat it, but it's not exactly healthy. and then you have cyanide and poison. Everybody understanding? So there's a spectrum. And it's exactly the same thing with what we're watching. It's the same thing with our media. It's a spectrum. And so the question you have to ask yourself is, rate the quality of your spiritual food in your media consumption. Start with social media. Just look at it. Check who you're following. Check what's coming up on your feed. And if you're a young man who's being bombarded, do something about that. Make a new account and say you're 55 or 65 years old. All right? Do something, because if you leave it, that is actually a concerted attack.